We're going to talk today about how to add value to infill lots, vacant land, acreage. So the concept is the same, but the methods are a little bit different when dealing with infill lots and vacant land. So overall, if you're dealing with a house, the concept is the same. You're going to put paint on it. You're going to put granite countertops, redo the kitchen, make it more attractive to your end buyer, to your retail buyer, whoever your buyer is in mind. You're trying to make it more attractive to them to extract as many dollars from the deal as possible. With land, it's a similar concept, whereas instead of granite countertops, we may be talking about access, utilities, cleaning up the lot, mowing the grass, picking up the trash, trimming the trees, getting water there, what's the sewer situation, electricity, things of that nature. I'm going to take you on a tour of various projects that I've done with infill lots and vacant land and show you some of the improvements I've done to add value to those projects. I appreciate everybody that's been subscribing and checking out the videos. If you would, hit the subscribe button, leave me a comment, and let me know what you think about some of these improvements. Let's go check them out. So with almost every piece of property, I'm dealing with native vegetation like this, where it basically is just a wall of trees. So from the perspective of a potential buyer, it's hard to imagine what could be there, what their dream would look like sitting on that property. So I'll go in, I'll have it mulched out, cleared out like this. Then a potential buyer can actually get out there, get a feel for the land, get a feel for how wide it is, how much room's there, whatever their potential dream is or ideal for that property, whether it's commercial or residential, they can start to see where they all come together. Okay, this is the piece of property. My house can go there. I could see a swimming pool. I could see everything that I want coming to be on this property. And so they can see some of the trees a little more clear. Even if, from standing on the road, it just looks like a big block of just brush and trees. They can't walk in there. And even if they did brave walking in there, getting in the middle of it, then they're just looking at a wall of trees from a different angle. And this right here costs about $1,200 for me to get it cleared out like that. Well worth the money, in my opinion. And I'm always doing a cost-benefit analysis on that. How much am I going to have to spend to make a particular improvement to a property, and how much is it going to return at the end? I think the $1,200 on this one's well spent. Then somebody can get out there and do it. And in my business, time and time again, this has been an improvement. It makes for better pictures, so it's presented better online if you're marketing on the MLS. This one right here, these guys are putting in a water well on a property. This property is in the county. I got quotes to get municipal water ran to it, and it was going to be over $100,000 to get water lines from the city water ran to this property. This water well cost $7,600, and I felt that it was going to help it sell quite a bit quicker. And I actually did sell this one, and they were the main reason that they were interested in this property was that the well was already installed. They were getting bank financing, and it could all be rolled into the land loan, and then they were ready to go. So that also opens you up to a bigger pool of buyers when you're doing improvements. This one right here, I put in a concrete this was an infill lot, and it was going to be, I developed it for a purpose-built lot for an RV parking space. So I went ahead and put in the concrete, utilities, dirt comes in if there's a low spot on the property, or, if you're developing, like in this instance, you're going to bring in dirt. That's an improvement. Electricity is normally readily available along the street where I'm doing developments. So sometimes getting a pole on the property or in front of the property and running it can be cost effective as well. I think that power pole cost me $2,700. Again, that was for the RV purpose-built lot. That was for the pole and some other things. This here, a survey. I'm always getting a survey on any piece of property that I buy. It helps me know where the property boundaries are. Then a prospective buyer also looking at it who's never seen this lot before, this piece of land, they know exactly where it's at because it's marked. For access purposes, if there's a ditch in front of the property, a culvert comes in handy. They can drive onto the property. A lot of people don't think about that
as an expense or even anything that's necessary if they've never bought land before, especially if you're selling to a retail end buyer, end user. They just see a ditch there and they don't think, well, how are we going to drive over it? So this one here in this particular county that I was doing this project in requires concrete culvert pipes. You'll see a metal, plastic. This one in particular requires the concrete pipes. And this was a 24-foot driveway culvert. And this cost me about $2,200. This particular one was on a lot that I was developing, so it was a purposed infill lot that I was doing a RV lot development on. So I went ahead and installed the culvert. Sometimes this is hit or miss as far as just doing it to have it there. Sometimes I'll talk to buyers that, you know, they're getting a land loan for it and they don't want to come back later and have to spend an extra $2,200, $2,500, whatever the cost is on top of whatever they put down on their loan. So in that instance, if it's requested, I know that it's going to help sell the property because the buyer's telling me that's what they need to do the deal. Other than that, I don't normally put in culverts just because in preparation that would help sell it, because a lot of buyers aren't thinking about it. But if I'm going to do a purpose development on an infill lot or something like that, and it has a ditch in front of it, I'm definitely putting in a culvert just because it's necessary to access the property. And the bigger the ditch, the bigger the expense for a culvert. The first piece of land that I bought had a huge ditch in front of it, and the culvert and the driveway ended up costing me more than the entire property that I bought. So I think the property was $25,000, and the culvert and driveway and everything ended up costing $28,000. So that's not a value add. So it's not something that I would just, you know, go out and put in just to, you know, build it and they will come. Locating utilities and knowing what's there. This we did just because we were digging the culvert, but also I'm locating utilities for marketing, so you can let them know if city water, city sewer, gas lines are available to the property. Makes a huge difference, just the availability of them to tap into it. Also finding out what the fees and costs are to the city or whoever those utility providers are, to pass that information along to a potential buyer, you know, that they're available and this is how much they are. And so if you're dealing with an end user or potential like a home builder on an infill lot, you've already got it packaged up for them. Like, look, water's available, sewer's available, electricity is available, natural gas is available. This is what the city said it would cost, or if it's just going to be standard fees, whatever those might be. But you know what's available. Sometimes I'll see it where water's available, but you'd have to put in a septic tank. Okay, well, you have that information and you know. So, and you can pass that along to any buyers, or you can choose to hook up the water or whatever utilities are available. You know, I normally look at what's available, do a cost-benefit analysis, and then go from there. And then start getting contracted. Like on this one here, the culvert, $2,200. I've got bids on it up to $4,000. So a lot of times also I'm getting different bids on what it's going to cost from different contractors. This one is just having the electric hooked up. So I had an electrician come in and put a pole on the property. And then this electric utility hooking that up. And sometimes just making it more turnkey. So we brought in dirt with grass seed in it. This one was an RV spot that we did, purpose built, part of a subdividing project that I did. So I went ahead and put in the concrete, put some grass around just for retention, smoothing out some dirt, septic tank, everything turnkey. But you have those buyers as well. Like, they got a land loan when the bank finances this project. They got a land loan to the end buyer, but it's got some, you know, it's got some improvements in way of the utilities, the landscaping. There's a septic tank that I installed on that same property. It's got shade structure. So I'm always thinking about the end buyer for a property and what they're going to want. And so this one was for an RV property where somebody's going to want to live there full time or have this property available to them full time. RV parks, the high end ones, and a lot of RV people are looking for, you know, somewhere to sit outside, to grill, to have a good time. They're looking for nice landscaping. They like to park their RVs on concrete. So if there is rain or something like that and they step out, they're not stepping out into the mud. All that has the end buyer in mind, and you can develop a project around that and then go from there as far as doing your cost benefit analysis. Is it worth it to put concrete? Is it worth it to add a septic tank? A lot of times a septic tank, I won't add it just because I may not be 100% sure what that end buyer is going to do. And septic tanks are a little bit more specific. So if I'm developing fully a project, I may put in the septic tank. If I just have an ideal that maybe they'll want to do an RV spot or maybe they'll want to do a mobile home, I'm not going to do the septic tank because one may need a different size septic tank than the other. This one right here, to make an improvement to this property, you knock that house down. So if I'm driving around or somebody brings me this deal and I see that structure on it, this is a vacant lot. That house is just in the way. And that's what ended up happening. I marketed this house, this property, just like that. And the buyers ended up knocking that house down. I would have knocked the house down myself, but wasn't necessary. Somebody came in, wanted to buy it, and they did the demolition themselves. And then I'm doing a lot of this, just cleaning it up, making it look nice. It's hard to see your dream on a property if there's a lot of trash, if there's a lot of trees, like those are called Brazilian pepper trees. They're not desirable. They're actually an invasive species. So I'm going in and clearing those out on this property, but just making it where they can see what they're going to do with the property and see how their project can fit onto a vacant piece of land. Again, this hydro mulching right here that I do on a lot of the properties is fairly cost effective, $1,200, $1,500 normally, and they can do a lot more for that $1,200 than I could ever do with a chainsaw or a lawnmower or anything like that.